Hey, Magic friends, welcome back. This is your captain speaking here, back on Capnclyde's MTG, and we have some new Crimson Vow spoilers for November 3rd. God, it's hard to believe the year's almost over. Tray tables, seat backs, and full upright position, boys and girls. We are taking off into a new realm of hot OP, meaning overpowered, Magic cards that are going to shape the new format. I didn't really look at these a whole lot, but as always, when you're doing cut and paste, you kind of look at some stuff and you're like, holy shit, did I just see that? So let's go through and take a look at these hot numbers. And as always, guys, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I appreciate you guys watching the channel and your support. Put some comments down below. Feed the YouTube algorithm. Tell your friends. Support the channel. I need some subs. Uh, yeah, I'd like to at some point get paid for doing this. But if I don't really care because I'm here to inform you and to entertain for what little entertainment value I am other than just being an idiot. But anyway, moving right along, let's go. So our first spoiler is Reclamation. Yeah, a split reclamation. So for a green and 3 sorcery, return all land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Very interesting rare. With a lot of graveyard shenanigans going on, and cards like Mulch getting reprinted, this might see some play, and it could be good play too. I mean, like good old Ren and 7 to light up your life, right? Is it going to see a lot of big impact? I don't think so, but we're going to have to wait and see to see what kind of combo decks come out to see if you can dump a bunch of land into your graveyard and then put it back on the battlefield, because at the same time, you still got to play. So, I don't know. We'll have to just wait and see. So, moving right along. This will probably be not good in anything. Uh, but I honestly think this is definitely something that Commander will see a lot of use in, and that will probably make this card worth at least a couple bucks. So, but that's probably about it. Moving on, we have Incado Optimistito. So basically, it's the Optimistic Initiate. 1 white for a 1/2 human warlock. Very nice. It has training. For those of you who don't know, training is a new mechanic that when somebody with training attacks, if another creature attacks that has bigger power, a +1/+1 counter is put on the creature with training. So you could very easily make this a 2, 3, and so much bigger. So for a white and 2, you can remove 2 +1/+1 counters from among creatures you control and destroy target artifact or enchantment. So this is going to be a big deal. Notice it says from among creatures you control, and there's lots of creatures that come into play and get counters in lots of different ways. You have Ranger class. You got the 2-mana white card, which I can never seem to remember, that just gives a counter every turn. There's all kinds of things to do it. This is like a disenchant on a stick that's going to sit on the field, keep getting bigger, and the minute your opponent plays something dangerous, you're just like, and no, thank you. So also, it goes really well in mono white. It'll be a really great card in sideboard, if not seeing main deck play, especially because it can just get bigger at 1 mana. I think this will be great in limited format and probably see standard play. It may see some pioneer play depending on how the format goes. I don't think it's going to do anything other than that, except maybe a little commander spot here or there. Nothing too big. So it's probably only going to be big while it's in standard. So moving right along, next we have the Hive Heart Shaman. Beekeeper. Anyway, agreed in 3 for a human shaman. Whenever Hive Heart Shaman attacks, you may search your library for a basic land card that does not share a land type with any other lands you control. Put it on the battlefield, then shuffle. That's interesting. For a green and 5, you create a 1/1 green insect token. Put X +1/+1 counters on it, where X is the number of basic land types among lands you control. Activate only as a sorcery. This is going to be bonkers and sealed and limited formats. This probably won't see a whole lot of play in standard. I mean, 4 for a 3/5 is fine, but different land types are going to be a real challenge. Um, and other than that, it's not going to see any old play, but it'll probably definitely be something for Commander because being able to fetch lands out of your deck, I mean, yeah, who doesn't want to do that in Commander? So, moving around, and not to mention Commander, all the lands are normally different anyway, so this insect token is going to be monstrous. So it'll probably be a couple bucks, but that'll probably be about it. Moving right along to the Skull Cleaver, we have a blue and a black, and that is a lot of weird zombie heads. Anyway, we have a zombie here with the exploit, which means you sack a creature when it comes into play. When you exploit a creature, you create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. That is very interesting because normally when you exploit a creature, you want to exploit your own creature sometimes that has the exploit on it to get your effect. Um, so I mean, it's still fine. It'll probably be good in limited. Ugh, excuse me, guys, it's late. It's probably good in limited only because as pacify effects or enchantment effects that prevent your creatures from attacking, lock your creatures down. You can sack those creatures and make them into 2/2 zombies, basically unlock them, so you at least have a blocker. Um, and it may be good in standard, depending how the format goes. But I honestly don't think it's going to see standard play, especially not in blue black. So yeah, unfortunately. Moving right along, we have another rare, the Dream Chain Spirit. It is a blue, blue, and one for a spirit that has flying. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you choose one. Do you tap a target creature, or target creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step? For a 3/1 that flies, this is pretty powerful. Not only because you don't have to attack, it just says at the beginning of combat on your turn, which means if somebody punches you in the face with something you don't like and it's tapped down, you can lay this on turn 3 and go, hey, I would like to go my combat step. Hey, I would now like to make sure this creature doesn't untap again. Please stop punching me in the face so hard. I think this is going to see a lot of play, a lot of shenanigans. It's going to be great in standard, even better in limited. Probably a good commander card as well. So, to be honest with you, this might see modern play. I mean, I know it's 3 mana. I mean, but in spirit decks like this, I mean, things like Aether Vial and stuff make this come out really easy. It's a 3/1 flyer. Tapping down target creatures means that you can get past things that would normally block when combat starts. So, like, I could see this definitely being a thing. So, moving right along. Next we have here is the Winged Portent, whatever that means. So it's 2 blue and 1 for an instant. You draw a card for each creature with flying you control. Uh, so not too bad as a rare. You can cleave, which means you just gain. You can draw a card for each creature for 6 as an instant. It could be good. It's probably gonna be really good in spirit decks. Just cause you get 3 or 4 spirits out there. I mean, 3 mana draw 3 or 4 cards is pretty nuts as an instant. Even just 2 creatures with flying is good. So in limited, fantastic. Standard, mm, if there's a good spirit deck or good flying deck that has blue in it, it would be good because 2 blue starters kind of hard. Um, it would only see modern play if there's a real deck in modern that really just relies on flyers, which I don't think there's one really. May see some pioneer play. Probably be great in commander. So we'll see. He's got some potential. Next here we have Kazula, the Dawnheart Martyr. This thing, ooh, 2 white and 1 for a flying lifelink protection from vampires. Uh, and its power and toughness is equal to the number of permanents you control that are spirits and or enchantments. So it's at least a 1/1 because it's a spirit. And then when you disturb it for 5, you enchant a creature. That creature has flying, lifelink, protection from vampires, and gets +X, where X is the number of permanents you control that are spirits or enchantments, i.e., this is an enchantment. So I'm not gonna get +1/+1, flying, lifelink, protection from vampires, and it slices, it dices, it makes julienne fries. This thing is gonna be so big in the environment with vampires having such an overwhelming number of good cards and good decks. This has to be something that goes into mono white decks, or just white decks in general, probably, if not main in the sideboard. Um, this thing just seems really good to me. Because of the mana cost, it probably won't get the kind of love that it needs, but it might. I mean, 3 mana is pretty easy in mono white. I know 5 is a lot, but that's really when you're getting to like the back end of your game anyway. So yeah, I think this has got a lot of potential, guys. I think this is easily a $5 card, maybe 10. In limited, this is gonna be busted just because there's so many vampires. It's gonna be good in standard, I think. Commander's gonna love this thing just because of this enchantment effect, especially in enchantment decks. Oh god, it's disgusting. This thing will be monstrous. So yeah, this is gonna be a good card. Moving right along, we have the Restless Bloodseeker. For black and 1, you get a 1/3, which is weird. At the beginning of your end step, if you gain life this turn, create a blood token. Sacrifice 2 blood tokens, you get to transform it. When you transform it, it has a 3/3 that at the beginning of your end step, you gain life this turn, you create a blood token, just like before. except also it has a black and 4. Each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. This is probably going to be pretty decent. Not in standard, just because it doesn't do enough. A 3/3, it doesn't fly, it doesn't have evasion. 5 mana is probably a lot in standard unless you're playing some kind of ramp deck with all the aggro stuff going around. Now in limited, this thing, ooh, fan me down. This will be winning some games. Also with that, it'd be really good in commander as well, just because of the whole 5 mana. Each opponent loses 2 life. Oh, let's have a commander game, guys. Okay, let's play with 5 people. I like to spend 5 mana, drain everybody for 2, and gain 10 life. Yeah, this is some real shenanigans here. So, moving right along, we got Child of the Pack, red, green, and 2 for a 2/5, which is okay, I guess. For the same mana, you can make a 2/2 wolf creature token. Ooh. It has Daybound, which means when it flips, it becomes a 5/5 trampler where other creatures you control get +1/+0. In limited, this thing is nuts because you can just pump out wolves for days. And just and if he does flip up, if he does flip over, then you just attack with the wolves that you have for days and just kill them. Yeah, this is going to be a great card in limited. Probably a little bit much for standard. It might see a little bit of play depending on how the format shifts, but I don't think it will. Commander guys, I think this is your jam right here for your werewolf decks. This thing seems really good for commander. So moving right along, we have Fleeting Spirit. It's a white and 1. It's kind of funny how the spirit's killing the guy. You get a 3/1 for a white. Exile 3 cards from your graveyard. Fleeting Spirit gains first strike to end a turn. That's disgusting. You discard a card. Fleeting Spirit. You exile Fleeting Spirit. Return to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of your next end step. Oh my god, this is disgusting. So, yeah, so you can't kill it, and for 1 white, it gains first strike, which kills damn near anything in standard right now. This is going to be a powerhouse in the mono white decks. I don't care what you say. Um, it's just like that one card that when it attacks, it becomes what was it, a 4/1, and you can pay 4 life for it not to die, gain indestructible. Same thing here, except you can discard cards and just basically remove it after it blocks, or spend a white and exile the cards you've been discarded and give it first strike and kill whatever's attacking it. This thing's got to be a serious problem. If you're playing against white, I'd expect to see this thing. It's only an uncommon, so it's not going to be worth a whole lot, but it's going to see lots of play. Limited, standard, commander, brawl, pioneer, maybe. I don't know. It's going to be everywhere. So, moving right along. Cartographer's Survey. So for a white, white. Wow, I am really tired. For a green and 3, you have a sorcery. Look at the top 7 cards of your library. Put up to 2 land cards from among them onto the battlefield tap. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. That is really sweet. That's gonna be great and limited. I don't know if it's gonna see standard play so much because 7 cards in standard you might not find 2 land. But to be honest with you, we don't have a whole lot of good green ramp that just jerks lands out of your deck, so this may be the thing to do that with. Definitely going to be really good in Commander. Like, this is going to go in every Commander deck. So, get the foils while they're hot, boys. So, moving right along. Alright, we have the Infestation Expert. For a green and 4, you get a 3/4. Not very good. Whenever the expert enters the battlefield or attacks, create a 1/1 green insect creature token. Alright, on second thought, that's pretty good. You're basically getting a 4/5 for 5, which isn't terrible. And if you get to swing with it, you get to make more tokens. Yeah, really good. And if it does flip upside down, not only is it ugly, it becomes a 4/5, which is right on rate where you want it to be. And when it enters the battlefield or attacks, you create 2 insects. So, yeah, this is going to be a limited powerhouse. I still don't think it does enough for standard though. 5 mana is a lot. There's better things you can cast. But if you're going out there and play some limited, boys, watch out for this. But watch out for this thing. It's going to beat you up. Alright, next we have the Circle of Confinement. White and 1 for an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, exile target creature an opponent controls, mana value 3 or less, until the Circle of Confinement leaves the battlefield. Whenever an opponent casts a vampire spell with the same name as a card exiled with Circle of Confinement, you gain 2 life. Okay, so it's a really neat pacifism. Kinda. Well, probably not going to see a whole lot of play with Portable Hole and all that good jazz floating around. However, this is going to be a limited all-star and find its way probably into mini commander decks. So, moving right along. Alright, we have the Oak Sage Stalker, green and 2 for a 3/3. That's right on rate. You may cast this spell as though it had flash if you pay 2 extra to cast it. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but... well, Okay, I know why you'd want to do that. You probably want to do that because if you cast it and it's night, you can cast it straight into 6/3. Ta-da. And I don't know why this one's English and this one's not. This is the backside. Whatever. I don't know who did this. The people around here don't know how to do their job. Barb, you're fired. Anyway. Uh, so yeah, I mean, I guess it's fine. 3 mana for a 3/3. It's basically a grizzly bear, uh, or centaur, whatever you want to call those uh, cheap vanilla creatures. So limited only, just limited. Moving right along, Ballistic Watcher, 2 red 2 for 4/3. For red and 2, you can tap it, deals 1 damage to any target. Sweet. If it flip, 4 mana for 4/3 is not bad. When it flips, it's a 5/5, even better. It also becomes a giant werewolf that carries a ballista, apparently. For a red and 2, which no longer taps it, you just do it at will. It deals 1 damage to any target, and a creature dealt damage this way can't block. Yeah. Um, this might see standard play. That's pretty good. I mean, honestly though, it probably won't. There's a lot better big red stuff. But when limited comes into play, yeah, this is gonna be your jam. Commander guys, here's another great werewolf for your deck. So moving right along, we have the Lamb Holt, right, whatever that's called. Anyway, it's a 2/4 for 4. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Uh, when it flips, it's a 4/4 for 4 that deals 2 damage to each opponent when you cast a non-creature spell. It's gonna be fine and limited. It's probably gonna be about it. And this is gonna be something on the all you commander guys want for your werewolf decks. Just saying. All right, we have Wash Away. This is very interesting. So I got a glimpse of this when I was cut and pasting. So 1 blue, counter target spell that wasn't cast from its owner's hand. That's the thing because stuff gets cast from outside the hand. It's gonna be really big um, because of things that get put like Alron's Epiphany or whatever. Um, just 1 blue, just counter it. It's amazing. Now, with that said, you can cleave it and just counter a spell, so it's still just a good counter spell. Like I think this is going to be the next big counter spell that's going to see a whole lot of play. Because there's so many ways to put things into exile for various reasons before you cast it that I just don't see how this just can't be good. Like I don't know, like when you have a lot of foretell stuff going on, along with that white card that puts stuff out of people's hands, put it in exile, make it cost more. Like, yeah, like this is just amazing. It's gonna be great in limited. It's gonna be great in standard, and probably gonna be good in commander too. I mean, I don't see why not. It's still a counter spell. If you get lucky, you get cast it for 1 blue. So. Yeah, not to mention, this might see some modern play, because there's nothing better, than when someone does a cascade effect, and you're like, oh, I got 1 blue. Sorry there, bucko. Yeah. Um, or oh, my ancestral memories comes off suspend. Wrong answer. So yeah, I think it's gonna see lots of play. Yeah, the more I think about it, I wouldn't be surprised if this was a $5 uncommon at some point. Anyway, moving on. Daybreak combatants. So for red and 2, you get a 2/2 with haste. Not bad. When it enters the battlefield, target creature gets +2/+0, so it's a 4/2 on the jump, unless you want to make something else bigger. Um, Good common for limited, as far as it's going. Next here we have the militia rallier, white and 2 for a 3/3. That's great rate. It can't attack alone. Whenever it attacks, you untap target creature. This thing's nuts. It can block, so yeah, like this is a limited powerhouse right here. Especially since you get to untap target creature. You can untap itself. You can untap something else that's better. This thing's just nuts for limited. Nothing else will probably see play because for 3 mana there's a lot better spells you can cast. But anyway, great card, like it. Kessick Flame Breather for a red and 1. You get a 1/3. Cast non-creature spell. The Flame Breather deals 1 damage to each opponent. Commander guys, here's a little something for that werewolf deck where the werewolf deals damage as well. Good common, limited play, definitely maybe. So, yeah. All right, we have the Moldgraph Millipede. That is, God, I hate bugs. Anyway, for a green and 4, it's a 2/2. That's awful. When it enters the battlefield, mill 3 cards, then put a +1/+1 counter on Moldgraph Millipede for each creature card in your graveyard. All right, on second thought, that's not bad. Uh, Like late game, this thing can be a beast. Oh, oh, and limited, you've killed my first 5 creatures. Now I've laid my 5th land. Here's my millipede that's 10/10 for 5 mana. Yeah, this is going to be a great powerhouse for limited. But that's really going to be it, honestly, for 5 mana. So, still, powerhouse limited. Alright, we have the Flourishing Hunter, 2 green and 4 for a 6/6. When it enters the battlefield, you gain life. You go to the greatest toughness among other creatures you control. Um, it'll be fine and limited. But to be honest, in any other deck that's green that's constructed, you just play Tolvar, Huntmaster. Like, yeah, just do that thing. Moving on, you have the Heron of Hope, a white and 3 for a 2/3 flyer. If you would gain life, you gain that much life plus 1 instead. Heron of Hope gains life link for 2. It's going to be a fine limited card. That's really as far as this is also going to go. So, Next, we have the Courier Bat for a black and 2. We got a 2/2. It flies. When it enters the battlefield, if you gain life this turn, return up to 1 target creature from creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Sweet Mother of God. Yeah, this is going to be a powerhouse and limited. This may see standard play in white-black decks if you have life gain. Sweet. Like the white-black cleric deck. Yeah, it's not a cleric, but guess what? I don't care. Because you can swing in with a cleric and sacrifice it as long as that cleric gains you life, and then lay this thing and pick the cleric back up. Ho, ho, ho. It'll be fine in limited too, because everybody loves Gravedigger, especially a 2/2 flying 1 for 3. Jesus, how far we've come. But yeah, we'll have to see how great it really is, but there's a lot of promise in this common card. Moving on, we have the Dawnhard Disciple, green and 1 for 2/2. Whenever another human enters the battlefield under your control, Disciple gets +1/+1 till end of turn. Fine for limited. Since it doesn't keep the counters, it's only going to be fine. And probably won't see play in anything else. The mono green deck or green decks in general have a lot better things to do than cast humans because the humans suck in those colors. You're going to be playing wolves or cats or giant tree folk. You get the idea. Anyway, moving on. Hungry Ridge Wolf. So for a red and 1, you get another 2/2. As long as you control another wolf or werewolf, it gets +1/+0 and has trample. So 2 mana, 3/2 trampler. Basically, fine and limited. Probably as far as it's going to go, just because red doesn't go very well in the mono green deck. Maybe there's enough good stuff to make a red-green deck that matters, but even then, I don't think this is going to make the cut. Moving on, we have the Blood Crazed Socialite. So for a black and 3, you get a 3/3 with Menace. Not terrible. When it enters the battlefield, create a blood token. Alright. Whenever a Blood Crazed Socialite attacks, you may sacrifice a blood token. If you do, it gets +2/+2 to end a turn. That's pretty sweet. This will be a real bomb in limited, especially if you're doing a blood token thing. Because a 4 mana 5/5 on a swing is pretty sweet with Menace. Yeah. Other than that, though, probably not doing much. Moving right along. Alright, next here, we have a powerhouse here. Mythic time, boys. Faithbound Judge. So for 2 white and 1, you get a 4/4 beast. Anyway, it's a spirit soldier with defending, flying, and vigilance. Good God. At the beginning of your upkeep, if Faithbound Judge has 2 or fewer judgment counters on it, you put a judgment counter on it. Now, as long as the Faithbound Judge has 3 or more on it, it can attack as though it didn't have defender. So basically, on turn 3, you can lay a 4/4 flying vigilance guy that turns into a Sarah Ager on turn 5 when you could normally attack with it. Seems good. Because, I mean, who doesn't want to run a Sarah Angel that casts for 3? You just gotta wait to get it out. Because it still blocks. And even better than that, like enchant player, if they do kill it by some freak of nature because they're dumb, you enchant player, and at the beginning of your upkeep, you put a judgment counter on Sinner's Judgment. If there's 3 or more judgment counters on it, the enchanted player loses the game. So basically, if you enchant them with this, they have 3 turns to get rid of the enchantment, or they lose, or they kill you. But yeah, this is just a powerhouse in all stretches of the imagination. Like, you put this in a mill deck and hope you mill it into the graveyard so you can just throw it on them. I mean, I know 7 mana is a lot, but like in limited, that's not hard. In standard with mana ramp, 7's not hard. Especially when you can just punch them in the face with this thing. It's not legendary. Like, you just lay a bunch of them and just start pounding town, and they'll just kill them or sack their creatures to them until they kill them, and then eventually you're like, oh, I got 7 mana. Here, have this. Yeah, I think it's easily 10, maybe $20 card. Commander players get these foils while they're cheap because I know they won't be expensive when they first come out because I don't think anybody realizes how good this is. Because it's like, oh, it's 7 mana for disturb. Yeah, well, guess what? The time walk 7 mana too, and guess what? It gets played. So anyway, moving right along. Wretched. When I first saw this, I thought it said Wretched Thong, and there are people coming out of his mouth, and this was just, yeah, I was like, what the? But it's Wretched Throng, my bad. So for a blue and one, you get a 2/1, which is not bad, especially for blue. When it dies, you may search your library for a card named Wretched Throng, reveal it, and put it into your hand. This may be good in standard, just because you can search stuff up when it dies. Uh, in limited, it'll be okay if you have extras, but if you need something low on the curve, this will work just fine. But that's probably the only places it's really going to see play. Next here we have the Unhallowed Phalanx for black and 4. So for basically for 5 mana, you get a 1/13, which enters the battlefield tapped, which basically means you're not killing nobody with this. Unless you lay that one thing that's black-green and says that whenever you attack, you butt fight. Uh, so, yeah, that'll be a thing. But all in all, probably just limited. It ain't going to do anything else, especially for 5 mana. Moving right along. All right, here we go, guys. Another mythic. Cemetery Desecrator. Yeah, I about to say Dissector. That's okay. Anyway, like I said, it's late. I'm tired. 2 black and 4 for a 4/4. Seems bad, but it has menace. When the Desecrator enters the battlefield or dies, so you get at each time, you exile a card from your graveyard. If you do, you remove X counters from target permanent, where X is the mana value of the cards you exile, so it can kill planeswalkers, or at least damage them enough to make them not usable. Plus, it also targets a creature an opponent controls, gives it -X/-X, where X is the mana value as well. This is really good for 6, and in a mono black deck where you're just doing your thing. Like this easily can give -3/-3 for 6, or maybe even more if you have another Desecrator in your graveyard already. I think this is going to see a lot of play, especially being a zombie. It is 6 mana, but I don't think it's going to matter. Easily $10-$20. It's going to be a bomb in limited. It's going to see standard play. It'll probably see Pioneer play too. This is one of those cards that you wouldn't mind getting out of the graveyard and putting into play, and doing those kind of shenanigans. So we'll have to wait and see. All right, we have Urith, the Tormented Prophet. So for a red, blue, and 1, you get a 2/4, which is great. And then if you would draw a card, exile the top 2 cards of your library instead, you may play those cards this turn. This thing is nuts. This basically says draw 2 cards a turn. Notice it says you play those cards. So if you flip over a land and something else, put the land into play, and then play the other card that you flipped over. This thing's going to be the bomb. It is legendary, so you can only have 1. Thank God. But yeah, amazing and limited. It's going to see standard play. This might see play in modern. Definitely going to see commander play. This is easily a $5 to $10 rare once you get the shenanigans going. Plus, it's an Is It colors with the Is It time walk stuff. So yeah, there's that. So moving right along. Oh, this is also another reason to run that blue thing for 1 blue counter target spell. It was cast from somewhere other than your hand. Yeah. Stop this silly shit here. So moving right along. Storm Chaser Drake, we have a blue and 1. That's a 2/1 flyer, which is really good. Whenever it becomes target spell or a spell you control, you get to draw a card. So this is kind of like Pravos on crack. Because you can just start pumping this thing and drawing cards and pump and draw and pump and draw and pump and giggity. Anyway, yeah, this is going to be really good. Great and limited. There's probably going to be a standard deck that's going to use this. I'm just not lying here. This seems really good, especially in blue with Is It colors and the kind of shenanigans they can do. This might see some play, guys. So, moving right along. Next, we have the Sawblade Slinger, which is a green and 3 for a 4/3. Okay. When it enters the battlefield, though, you get to choose something. You get to choose to destroy an artifact an opponent controls, or it fights target creature, or it fights target zombie and opponent controls. So this is gonna be great and limited. Lots of good mobility. It's a creature. It does things. It kills artifacts. It can fight in case there's a big zombie you need to kill. Yeah, like this has lots of possibilities for limited. However, that's probably the only place this is gonna see any play. Um, Especially with it being an archer, not a werewolf. But it may see some commander play just for versatility reasons. Next, we have the Reclusive Tax. So for a green and 1, you get a 1/2. Interesting. He gets +3/+2 as long as there are 4 or more creature cards in your graveyard. Wow. Add 1 mana of any color. So this is definitely going to see a lot of play in standard and in limited. Hell, this is that a 4/4? This might start seeing play in modern or pioneer style decks, just because of what it does. Because plus a mana of any color for 2, like, oh, I have a mana dork. Oh, guess what? My mana dork's gonna punch you in the face really hard. Yeah, like there's so much versatility on this. I think it's gonna be hard for it not to see play in a lot of formats in some way, shape, or form. And as far as Commander goes, a 2 mana mana dork that makes a mana of any color, sign me up. So expect to see this bad boy getting played. Grab them foils while they're hot. All right, so we'll move right along. Oh no! Oh no! So that is all the Crimson Vow spoilers for today, November 3rd. Appreciate your effort, your time, and you hanging around and listening to me ramble about some silly shit that I probably don't know nothing about. But anyway, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Until next time, remember, guys, be kind. Uh, if you'd like to support the channel also with a little bit of cashola, mulazi, hit the description. There's a link in there for my eBay store where all my box opening series and the Crimson Vow box opening series, when I do it, those cards will be placed on the eBay store for sale to help support me buying cards for the next sets to keep the box opening series going. Along with, I have some extra boxes I've come across that I haven't opened yet that I'm willing to open on the channel for a loyal patron who would like to speak up and do it. Those boxes are listed in the description below. They are a Double Masters box, sealed, 2 Modern Horizons 2. And once again, you're going to see the box opened on the channel. It'll help support the channel. Plus, you'll see what you're going to get, so you know I won't be scamming you. Plus, if you want to, I can put it on eBay and make a private auction for you. But that kind of sucks if we cannot do that, only because it's going to cost me money and you money because they're going to charge me and then tax you and yeah, the stuff. Anyway, guys, thanks a lot for everything. I do appreciate it. Until next time, be kind, and I hope to see you across from the game tables at the Crimson Vow pre-release.